Live! We are live! We are live! Whoop, 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 whoop,
Hey!
whoop, 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 whoop.
Hello!
Hello. Thank you for bearing with us. This show has started as the previous however many. Are we past 30 now? Live! We are live! We are
Maybe?
live! Hey!
Is that you? Is that you making that noise?
That was my phone. Yes.
Close. Close too, yeah. I think
Yeah.
we are.
Yeah.
Because Pikachu was 25, and since then we've had like Raichu, Ekans, Arbok, Sandshrew, Sandslash, Nidoran, and Nidoran.
Yeah.
So we're on like 33.
Yeah, and I think that we can. I think that we've probably got the Guinness World Record for most amount of podcast shows with uninterrupted technical issues across all of the episodes.
Most technical issues to podcast episode ratio.
Yes, and I think that is very much within my at least my brand, and I'm sorry to be dragging your good self down with that slapdashery, but yes, exciting stuff. What have you been up to?
Same old shit, mate. It's been one week.
Yeah,
What have I done? I've done some Blizzard comedy admin.
whoop 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 whoop.
We have some shows on. I'm just going to put a link to all of them. Except that's the one link I don't have up because I'm very clever. We've got a show on Sunday, 4th of February, with Laura Monmouth and Ian Lane, and they're very cool people.
Yeah,
And they're doing a preview each and a preview together. So three shows for the price of one. And by price, I mean however much you want to pay because it's a pay what you want show. Uh, and that's on Sunday, 4th of February now. It was originally going to be like last week, but we had a dangerous weather warning. And then on the 12th of February, we've got like our regular show with a lineup of comedians with headline act Anna Thomas.
oh,
Uh,
fantastic, love Anna.
and she's fantastic. And I've done like absolutely no promoting for that show whatsoever because all of my time has been taken up by like the admin for the change in the other one and like band shit and all other stuff. And that one's only got like 11 tickets left. So if you want to come to that, book now because we normally get like 20 odd people going like booking tickets in the weekend before the show, and that's just not going to happen this time. Like it's going to be sold out, and you are going to be sorry if you haven't booked yourself a ticket.
I agree.
Um, I've spent a lot of time practicing with my band because we have a gig coming up on February 10th. If anyone is in London and wants to come see that, we are playing at Maryland Metal Fest 3, which is going to be fun. Um, and if you aren't in London and don't want to be, we have one single out already that you can listen to on all the major streaming platforms. And another one coming out next Wednesday. So 6 days from now. And look at, you can listen to the one that's out and pre-save the one that isn't on our link tree, which I've just put in the chat. So they're all the things that I've been doing that you can look at.
Fantastic. It's exciting. That is exciting stuff. I remember speaking to you last week, and I was like, I wish to hear. Wish to hear all the stuff, and you're like, well, it's all a secret. And I was like,
It's
well, I'm
not a
going to ask
secret.
you
I just
next
didn't
week.
have anything. Like like it wasn't a secret. It was just like I didn't have any additional like links or anything. If I feel like if I told people, oh, we've got all this stuff coming up, but like you can't engage with it anyway, like I'm being a horrible tease and no one's gonna like me. So it was somewhat redundant.
That's where we differ. Me. I wish to be as teasy, horrible tease as possible. But yes, I'm excited. I'm excited that you got like so much news. Like it's brilliant.
I mean, it's the same news I have like all the time, really. There's a Blizzard show coming up. That's pretty standard for every single thing I ever do. We have one every month. um, yeah, but the other stuff is newish. I say newish. I've known it's coming for a while. Um, but oh well, that is. I can tell you now, and I have. You've got the links. Have fun. Enjoy yourselves.
Fantastic.
What about you? Are you being teasy about anything at the moment?
Right, what have I got? What have I got going on? So I have I've got my second lot of comedy lab coming this weekend. Yeah,
Ooh.
exciting stuff. I've got oh, and we have had a dropout. So if anyone wants to jump on that, this is you've got like 24 hours to jump on it. So I'm just gonna put that in the chat. So yeah, if anyone fancies that or wants to DM me about sorting out, you know that space, because I'd rather it go to, one of my mates and people who are supportive, and sort you something out. So yeah, so get in touch if you fancy that. What else have I got going on? I'm working on my new show. It's I can't remember if I mentioned it last week, but I've got this idea that I'm gonna create this show all about like success, and it'll probably be my most technical show. So I'm in the process of sorting that out. So if anybody who watches this show knows how to program a Raspberry Pi, I would very much appreciate you sending me a DM, because I was chatting with someone last night, and I think I'm going to need a Raspberry Pi for this idea that I've got. There you go. Look at that. I love being a little teasy tease.
You are. You're terrible. Like
yeah.
this show, I feel like you've still got a lot of life in the shows you're already doing. So I feel like this one's going to happen in about 3 years' time.
Oh, do you know what? You'd be surprised. I'm much more dead behind the eyes than would appear. But yeah, that's kind of the new thing that I'm working on, and I think that's going to be really cool. And I've just launched doing Comedy Lab 1-to-1s as well, and they've been doing all right. I've currently got 3 students that I'm doing like 1-to-1 stuff, where I'm like helping them create their own Edinburgh shows, which is
Wow, that sounds really cool.
yeah, so nice. So hopefully they'll be able to achieve their goals through doing that.
That sounds great.
Yeah. On that note, we do have the Comedy Lab website, which I put in the last one, but I'm going to put it in again. So anyone who wants to have a look at that. I did not win at the Northwest Comedy Awards. Has that happened since the last episode?
Maybe.
But yeah, I didn't win them. But it's just added to the list of awards that I have not won. So,
But being nominated is still an achievement.
oh
Being
yeah.
included at all, being acknowledged is still something.
Well, it is very, very nice to have, because it's like an industry. It is an industry award, like an industry nominated award. So the fact that I got nominated is really nice.
So nice.
Yeah, and I've got a few little things in the pipeline. I mean, I was mentioning to Kirsty just before we started that there's again, like there's these little things that like that you're like, you got to keep them a secret for one reason or another. So you've just got to kind of, but those will get announced in due course. Although, right, this is genuinely true. This whole thing about like, I like to keep things. I like to be a little bit secretive. I was having a conversation with someone not that long ago, and someone said to me, "Tom, I really must know, are you into edging?"
Oh God.
Yeah, and I went,
I mean,
and And I was like, what do you mean? And they went, just the way that you kind of like tell a story, and you're kind of constantly like, and here's a little bit more information, and here's a little bit more, and here's a little secret, and here's a little thing. It's like, I need to know if you are into the concept of edging, and if it extends beyond stories.
So Pokemon.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
Should we do what we're here to do?
Yeah, let's do it. So, do you want to go with your image first, or shall I? It's up to you.
You can. I think I went first last week. If you want.
Right. Okay, doke. Here we go. So this is what I went with for Nidorinarino. Now, I went with the trading card artwork as my inspiration for this. So this is what I went with.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm fairly pleased with that, and as something that I'm gonna mention, I mentioned in the Nidoran female episode that I was like surprised that Nidoran female has got a horn, right? And when I was looking at some images to get some inspiration, I was like, I'm fairly certain that Nidorina doesn't really have a horn, and maybe that's where I went, right, well, they don't have a horn as a line, so completely wrote it off. So that's what I've gone with for my one.
Okay.
Do you want to show what you've gone with for yours?
I mean, I didn't really pick a particularly memorable moment, because I just drew a Nidorina. Like, it's not doing anything particularly special, but this one is mine.
Oh God, mine has got no chance of beating that. Like,
you say so? Yeah,
no, yours actually looks like one, whereas I feel like mine looks like scribble. So, I mean, that's the thing, as I'm sure that we'll mention. I feel like Nidorina is definitely the least iconic of the two.
Sure.
Yeah, got the least amount of moments and stuff.
Yeah, we'll get to the moments we have, if any. Yeah. Do you want to do your Nidorino?
Yes. Well,
drawing?
This is one of those ones where I suspect that we may have gone for the same thing again. For this one, so I took as my inspiration the opening for Pokemon Red. So it's like midway through, about to do the jump, and so I purposely did not do any colour in the background. Thank you, Blizzard Comedy. I appreciate your very nice comment. So I went for no background on this one because although I never really played Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green, I stuck to the originals, and it was like hard to. It was hard to convince my parents to get me a remake of a game that I'd only gotten like a few years earlier. As I discovered, all the colour goes from the background, so I decided to leave it out for this. And a little fact for you, right? You may notice there's a whole load of empty space over here. I was originally going to do it just before the jump, but I recognised that I drew the Gengar too far over. So all I had, I couldn't really do him here, so I was like, right, well, it's got to go up here and do mid-jump now. So that's what I went with for my one.
I thought about doing that, but then I thought you probably would, and it'd be a bit too obvious. So I've just done like just this big angry boy.
Oh, very cool! Oh, I love that. I like how I like all the spots. I feel like that's this is part of this era where it's giving me real Bulbasaur vibes.
I mean, to be fair, the highlights on a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon are very similar. Like, both Nidoran lines have them, Bulbasaur has them. I feel like if we go back through the drawings we've done, there are quite a few that have similar kind of patterns in a way. Um, just because like I don't know if it was a sprite thing or a
Mm.
animation thing, but like yeah, they sort of uh had a similar way of offering a bit of like to break up the blank space. They just sort of did the same kind of highlight over and over again, I think.
Yeah. Do you know what? When I look back on some of my drawings, I don't know if you're the same, but I mean your drawings have been like brilliant since day one. But I feel like my drawings are getting progressively better because when I back at some of the crap I presented for like look at the state of this Bulbasaur that I presented. Look at the state of that.
I mean, that was the first one.
Yeah, but no one's getting nostalgic over that, and that's like one of my favourites. So, what was I thinking? Right, should we go on into the actual episode?
Yes, let's do it. This might, well, I don't know if this will jinx it, but this could be the first one that's actually quite a short episode.
Brilliant.
Or it might not be. We don't know. Let's find out. Right. Nidorina. Tom, have you got any hot takes, fond memories, um, intrusive questions about Nidorina?
Okay, so my first one is that I feel like Nidorinarino does not really have a horn. I feel like at most they've got a lump on their head.
Nidorina doesn't have a horn. Like,
Well,
why?
well, exactly.
Why is that?
Where's the horn gone? What as comedians would have said in the 90s? What's all that about?
Okay, look, I feel like that's a really weird thing to take offense at. Like,
I just think
where did like like I feel like we've had this conversation before about horns not being where you think they are on Pokemon.
yeah, exactly. Eggs, egg, bloody exactly. Um, I feel like right. We did the previous episode on Nidoran female and Nidoran male, and I was like, I didn't really know it had a horn. I assumed that the horn was the back of an ear, etc., etc. Right? If you wanna hear my thoughts on that in more detail, you can listen to the previous episode. There you go, a little reason to go back, right? But but the thing is, I accepted it had a horn, and now I've come onto its evolution, and where'd that horn go? And
I don't know.
as a genuine thing, right? Like I feel like for equality, it should have kept it.
So what you're saying is Nidorino and Nidorina should be exactly the same.
What not exactly the same, but it's like keep the horn, like give it like a badass. If anything, make it like a Black Widow. Make it like, right, this is the female version. You'd think that Nidorino would get the big one, but actually, it's like Nidorina is the absolute badass.
Yeah, we've already established in the last one that the depth of subversion of like gender stereotypes is that the boy one is pink. That is it. That is the whole difference. And the rest of it, they have fully fallen into every pitfall of making a gendered thing. Like, we established that on the last two episodes. I'm sure it is also going to be the bulk of this one, but I feel like we're going to get to more egregious instances of it when we get to the Pokedex entries. I feel like ranting for an hour about horns is not going to do anyone any good and make you look like a bit of a nutcase.
Oh, you say that as if anyone who looks at any of my work output for like the last 5 years would not assume so. But But yeah, so that's my main thing about Nidorina. Um, I feel like nobody's keeping a Nidorina when instead of a Nidoqueen.
No, of course not. Like, no one's doing that with any middle evolution Pokemon.
Mm,
Um, I feel like, yeah, the main bits of information that I like, I feel like Nidorina is quite an underutilized Pokemon. They appear in like the background of the show a little bit. That like obviously there's the one where like the Nidorans that are in love evolve into their evolved forms, but they're only in the
yeah.
episode for like 3 seconds and then they all live happily ever after. So I don't know how much that really uh is important for this particular Pokemon as
Mm,
opposed to the previous evolutions. Um, if I remember rightly, I think Whitney has one in the Johto season, not in the game, just in the show. But it's
yeah.
not that memorable. It's not as memorable as her Miltank from the games.
Yeah, like that for me is the two. Like I remember Whitney's Miltank, and I want to say they also have a Sentret.
Yeah, something like that. Because like in the, and I think the reason I remember this is that in the games, Whitney, um, Whitney is a normal type gym leader, and I think it confused me because Nidorina is not a normal type Pokemon.
Oh,
So I was like, why does Whitney have this? It's poison type. Like, oh well.
mm. Um, I feel like slightly more so. Nidorina versus Nidorino looks like the middle stage of Nidoran female to Nidoqueen. Like it almost feels like they probably came up with it as like a
It's just a
they
stepping
probably
stone
yeah they
from
probably
like they had the Nidoran idea, they had the Nidoqueen idea, they need something to go in the middle.
yeah,
And I think that's not unusual. That is largely the same for most middle evolutions.
mm,
Like even now that I think they are getting a bit more thoughtful about that sort of thing, middle evolutions are still massively underappreciated or like underutilized in terms of the fun things they could do with them. I would like to see more Pokemon in general where there is an incentive to leave it as a middle evolution. And I do actually think Nidorina is one of the few where there's a bit of an incentive, just not enough of one, because, and this is the same for Nidorino, but Nidorina comes first in the Pokedex, so I'll bring it up now. Um, by gaining the secondary ground type of Nidoqueen and Nidoking, Nidorina and Nidorino don't gain anything that they're super effective against, but they do have more things that are super effective against them.
mm,
So, in that respect, they are opening themselves up to more weaknesses. So, if you wanted a poison type, you're better off not evolving your Nidorina into a Nidoqueen because like ground doesn't actually really give them that many additional advantages compared to the weaknesses it
mm,
introduces for them. Um, but then like it still has like better stats and all of the other benefits of come being a final evolution, like eh. Johnny has pointed out that stone evolutions in Generation 1 tend not to learn any or many new moves via level up once evolved. So there is an argument to keep them in their middle form for move pool. I think that was done on purpose so that you don't just like immediately evolve it at level 16 again.
mm,
Um, and I think they kind of like made it a bit less imbalanced as the games went on and they introduced like new moves and put more thought into how stone evolutions were going to work, what was going to be the benefit of keeping it around for a little bit.
mm,
And obviously, if we're talking about Gen 1, the downside of it becoming dual type with ground wasn't even an issue until later on because they didn't have dual types in Gen 1. If you're playing red, yellow, or blue, may as well evolve it because um,
Yeah.
you're not getting the weaknesses.
Because really, you're going to get the opportunity to get this as early as Mount Moon, because
Yeah.
in Gen 1 you can pick up Nidoran male or Nidoran female, depending on which version you've got, and then you will pick up a Moonstone. And at that point, you know, you're probably maybe only, because you're only post Brock, you're probably only going to be around about 16, 17 at this point. So maybe it was done as a bit of a mechanic to
Yeah.
around those moves and make you go, oh, actually, if I hang on to these, because I don't know about yourself, but I sometimes over level my Pokemon. Sometimes I'll stick Everstones on stuff so I get access to moves earlier. I'm sure that I want to say, like, most of my starters, I'll over level until I get something decent around about, you know, level 30 or 40.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I tend to let them evolve as soon as they're ready. There are a part unless it's a because like they normally get the move sooner or later anyway. Like it's only a handful of Pokemon that don't get a good move at all if you evolve them.
Mm.
Um, and I didn't really see a downside in like waiting the extra couple of levels usually. Um, yeah, like some of them, which I will save for the episodes in which we focus on those Pokemon, can be quite interesting in terms of like which moves they've left until later. But yeah, um, this is not one.
Yeah. Oh
This is
yeah.
not one.
Yeah. Nidorina is definitely not one that I would consider, but like I say, for things like the starters, I will generally over level it until it starts getting tanked out by whatever it is that it's fighting. You know, enough times that I start going, okay, well, I better I'd let this evolve now. You know, in order for the stats to get boosted. Yeah.
Fair.
But yeah, I do. I feel like this feels like a full 3-stage that they developed altogether. Unlike what we discovered with Blastoise, where they kind of swapped it out, because it does feel like the middle point. One other thing, I don't know why, but I've felt like this for a long time. Nidorina particularly like reminds me of like a teenager.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I think I think the design of Nidorina, like it's kind of chubby, so it's still got a bit of like baby puppy fat. And I don't know if this is just me, but the shape of the ears gives me like a kind of pigtail vibe.
Hmm?
You know what I mean? When little girls have that like high pigtail
Yeah.
that comes up here,
Yeah.
that's like the like I feel like you get little cartoon girls that they do exaggerated pigtails in that same sort of shape. Not in real life, of course, but in the um yeah, just in cartoons.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if like I feel like I'm probably just reading into this. I almost get the, you know, like, because it's, I want to say, does it have like segments in its like underbelly?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Uh,
Not the arena.
maybe I've imagined them, but I almost view it as like a bit of like a band T-shirt, like. But obviously I've just imagined that. So
It's
yes,
got like a slightly paler belly than it does its back, but
uh,
that's it. There's nothing terribly interesting about it.
well, and that was the end of the Nidorina episode.
No, we've got Pokedex entries to go, and then
Uh,
we'll find out how useless it is in battle
yeah,
competitively.
but yeah, that's the thing. I feel like I've had one. I've probably evolved it quite quickly just to get a Nidoqueen on my decks.
Yeah,
Uh,
same.
Because the thing is, I'm not actually that keen on either Nidoqueen or Nidoking. I want to say, like, is the general consensus that like Nidoqueen's better?
Don't know.
But yeah, it feels like
We'll find out by next week when we have to have that
yeah.
conversation.
But yeah, I feel like Nidorina is probably the better one to keep. But yeah, so that's it's in the anime for like 3 seconds.
It's in 3 seconds of anime, and yet we've been talking for 44
Yeah,
minutes.
it is. Remember when we said, "Oh, this one will be a nice and easy one," but yeah, it's in the anime for 3 seconds, and it's probably in my Pokedex for 3 seconds because I immediately use a Moonstone on it and then fuck it off.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I feel like I would like an excuse to hang on to a Nidorina for longer than I usually do, but there just isn't one.
No.
Like, yeah.
Right, shall we have a look? We got Johnny's put. I definitely use Nidoran Male Line more as I preferred its moveset, but neither are particularly good or stand out from the rest of the Pokemon available at that point in the game.
Correct.
So, shall we have a look at the Dex entries?
Let's do it. I
Right.
feel like you're gonna see the first one. You're gonna have a point of contention with that one.
Well, my first issue is right. There's a picture of it. There's the official artwork. To quote comedians in the 90s, "Where's that horn gone, yo? What's all that about?"
Yo.
I do like that's my.
I feel like look, Nidorina is not the only second evolution that has had like part of its former being absorbed into its body. Like this is like not unusual, and if you're going to be upset about this, then you're going to struggle as we continue.
You know that you could say that about many aspects of my life. To be honest with you, Kirsty, mate.
Yes. And how's that going for you?
Oh God. Oh my God. Let's keep it on the Pokemon. Otherwise, this will take a depressing note. But yeah, I just like I said, I just want a badass female middle evolution monster, and they had the opportunity to do that with this, and that's my issue there. Right, so we got the Pokedex entries. So we've got right. I'm already annoyed. That's
what I said you was gonna be.
Right, red and blue. The female's horn develops slowly, prefers physical attacks such as clawing and biting.
So this is one of those ones where like I've heard stories about like the Pokemon developers being like, you have to put a tail on that Pokemon. I've programmed it to have tail whip, and so they've had to redesign it. I noticed they didn't do that with the Pokedex entries, where they could have said, you have to put a horn on that Pokemon. I've written it as it's got a horn. But it could have been like, well, we haven't drawn a horn. Say its horn develops slowly so that, like, we can say, well, the one in the picture is just a bit underdeveloped. Its horn is still slowly growing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I've not looked at any Nidoqueen artwork this week, and I feel like Nidoqueen probably does not have a horn. It feels like it doesn't have a horn. Is that gonna go? Is that gonna go?
I feel like yellow is actually shining some light on this, because the yellow one says, when resting deep in its burrow, its thorns always retract. This is proof that it is relaxed. So maybe this is just a relaxed Nidorina with all of its spikes kind of at rest.
I hope so. I also like the fact it uses burrow, connecting to its rabbit tendencies.
Yeah. Yeah. And creating a sense of its natural habitat. Then we got Wildcard Stadium Professor coming in.
Love him.
The female is usually docile. However, if it becomes enraged, it will attack wildly with bites and scratches. And again, we have to ask, what is Stadium Professor doing
Yeah.
to these fucking Pokemon?
Yeah.
Like,
My love for
like,
you has diminished.
I feel I quite like Gold. I quite like Gold because it gives more context of Nidorina in the wild and in its community. When feeding its young, it first chews and tenderizes the food, then spits it out for the offspring. Now,
I,
first off, that's gross. And while I like it, I'm also concerned because I'm pretty sure Nidoran, the female Nidoran, a lot of the Pokedex entries were banging on about how pointy its teeth were.
yeah. Yeah.
And if they've got such pointy teeth, like, is Nidorina just doing this for fun?
Yeah. Well, it is actually connected to real life, so that's quite common because a lot of young
This
animals
isn't about
don't.
real life. This is about internal logic, Tom.
Well, I suppose the issue that I have there then is that Nidorina can't breed as one of the mechanics. So what's it doing with young?
Well, it could have had it as a Nidoran and then evolved.
Yeah, I suppose
It's
it could
like,
have.
now I've got a child to take care of. I must be larger than the child, so I should hurry up and evolve.
But the issue that I have with that is you've put that in the decks, so just give it the ability to breed.
Yeah, I think based on, I feel like it wasn't a choice based on that it shouldn't. It was a choice based on the limits of the mechanics they had available to them at the time of release.
Mm,
Now they should.
yeah,
Um, but this was Generation 2 that they wrote this. I feel like by the time they reused this for Heart Gold, by then they should have added the mechanic in.
agreed.
But they didn't.
Yeah,
Um, Silver, I have mixed feelings about. It has a calm and caring nature because its horn grows slowly, it prefers not to fight. Now, I feel like this is the issue I thought we were going to uh face when it came to like the contrast between the two of them.
mm,
I think this is going to be, oh, it's calm and caring and it looks after the young and it prefers not to fight. Whereas Nidorino is going to be, I would put money on it, is going to be like, oh, it's aggressive and it's a protector and it's doing
yeah,
that thing that we highlighted last time where it has fallen into all of the pitfalls of gendering a thing.
yeah.
Um,
And I feel like I keep on mentioning it, but I feel like Nidoqueen does not have a horn, and I feel like Nidoking does have a horn. Give me my badass females with badass horns. Why can't I have that? Why can't I have that?
Well, Crystal reckons it has barbs if barbs will do for you. It has a docile nature. If it's threatened with attack, it raises the barbs that are all over its body, which again leans into what yellow is doing. So when it's threatened, it gets pointy and barby, and when it's relaxed, its thorns retract.
Barbs does not quell my want for a badass like female full of like horns and spikes. All Barbs makes me think of is genuinely my dinner lady when I was 5, who was called Auntie Barbs. That's all it makes me think of.
So Stadium 2 has just copied Gold's homework again. Ruby and Sapphire is quite cute. When Nidorina are with their friends or family, they keep their barbs tucked away to prevent hurting each other. This Pokemon appears to become nervous if separated from the others. I think that's cute.
Yeah,
But it is another one of these Pokedex entries where I'm like, how many Pokemon did you separate from their families to get this information? Is this statistically significant data, or did you do it to one Nidorina and assume that it was all of them? Also, why is this special to Nidorina? Surely, if like any Pokemon was abandoned on its own, it would be sad.
yeah. The Charmander episode speaks for itself, which was
Right?
already out at this point. Also, as we know from doing, this podcast, that a lot of the Ruby and Sapphire was potentially not going to have Gen 1 Pokemon in it, and but that for me is no excuse for the first female like evolution line with like only getting one entry between the two.
Well, we'll find out when we get to Nidorino if it's because they hate Nidorino.
I already feel like I'm going to be
Um,
fuming.
Emerald feels like just a variation on that. When it's with its family or friends, its barbs are tucked away to prevent injury. It appears to become nervous if separated from the others. So the same information in a different amount of words.
Oh,
Uh,
I already love Fire Red. I already love that.
I like Fire Red. The female has a gentle temperament. It emits ultrasonic cries that have the power to befuddle foes. I like this because it ties into how you might use Nidorino in battle. I
Mm.
like that it has that relationship with the game mechanic.
Mm.
Um,
I like the word befuddle.
befuddle, yeah.
Brilliant
um,
word.
Leaf green is the same as red, basically. Yeah, exactly the same. Um, all right, diamond and pearl and platinum is quite an interesting one. When it senses danger, it raises all the barbs on its body. These barbs grow slower than Nidorino's. I think that's quite interesting.
It reminds me of
I
a
feel like I would
pufferfish.
like to know. I would like to know if any of these um professors have had done any like in-depth research into why Nidorina's like defensive features
Mm.
um grow slower than Nidorino's. Like I'd like to know if there's an actual reason physiologically for that they can point to.
Yeah.
Like do male Nidorinos have a chemical in them that makes them pink and pointy that Nidorina doesn't have?
Mm.
Or does Nidorina have a chemical that makes them blue and soft?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I also like the idea of there being a Pokemon game where you play as a professor and there's like loads of mini games where you can
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
work stuff out and put it in the Pokedex.
I reckon that'd be a sick game.
Yeah.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the same as Gold and Silver.
Tell you what, on that
Black,
note,
white.
right, Nintendo, why aren't you hiring us to give you ideas? Secondly, do you remember that? Do you remember that Pokemon series that they brought out that rivaled ours? What happened to those guys?
Oh yeah. Don't remind people, Jesus. The Black, White, and Black and White 2 are the same as Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Uh, X is the one we liked from Fire Red. Y is similar to what we've seen before. When feeding its young, it first chews the food into a paste, then spits it out for the offspring. So that's information we already had, but like doesn't clear up why this Pokemon needs to chew its food for a baby that has famously pointy teeth.
Yeah.
Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire have the same as Ruby and Sapphire. Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee have the same as Yellow.
Yeah.
Right. Sword and Shield is answering some fucking questions.
Brilliant.
Sword. The horn on its head has atrophied. It's thought that this happens so that Nidorina's children won't get poked while their mother is feeding them. I like that. That's answered a question for us.
Yeah.
You know what? I think Sword and Shield Professor is my fucking favorite.
Yeah. Well,
Like they consistently. I liked Sword and Shield on the last episode.
Yeah.
And I think Sword and Shield is quite consistently kind of giving us more context of like what this Pokemon is like in the wild, like what its community is like. It's not just about battling, but it also does give you interesting glimpses into how the backstory fits into the game mechanic.
Yeah.
I also really like Shield. If the group is threatened, these Pokemon will band together to assault enemies with a chorus of ultrasonic waves. This makes me think that when we go to look at the Smogon info,
Yeah.
I think Nidorina's going to have a better special attack than Nidorino is. I think this is also leaning into Nidorina's positives and strengths. It's not just being like, yeah, get the boy one, it's stronger. It's being like, this is a skill this one has. Like, that isn't just a comparison to its male counterpart. I like the approach that Sword and Shield Professor has.
Yes. I mean, my previous favourite professor was Sun and Moon Professor, but you know, they've continually dropped the ball on this line.
Yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon that hasn't really been here. Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl have phoned it in again with the same one as black, white, diamond, pearl, and platinum. So there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there
I
we
feel
go.
like I feel like the focus on like feeding its young and its gentle temperament and all that other bullshit, caring nature, has very much fallen into some stereotypical pitfalls that I don't have a lot of time for. But I think Sword and Shield have turned it around
Mm.
for me.
Right. Let's. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go into the Smogon, and then see what we've got for that. Okay. There they are. I almost feel like their head looks so unhorn-like. It almost looks like they've got like a Squirtle's head.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Um.
Um, I mean, it's still got spikes down its back, which I think is like probably where the idea it's got a horn comes from. Because Nidoran has a little one. Nido Queen definitely has spikes down her back, but I think she's got a much rounder head. But we'll come to that next time. And I feel like if they had kept it with a horn, it would have made sense. But oh well.
Yeah.
I like her little sleeves.
Yeah. Like I say, like this for me feels like the logical middle point to getting a Nidoqueen. Like even more so than I feel like with Nidorino, because you know they're like still on all fours, and you know Nidoqueen and Nidoking are both on their back legs. So yes, so this feels like this was just kind of, I don't know, like I don't want to say like an afterthought, but it does feel like they went, okay, how do we get to the middle point, versus with Nidorino, where I feel like they went, okay, let's okay, so it's called Nidorino, so let's like make it a little bit like Rhino like. So we have got here, sorry to say, special attack is the same as special defense.
Yeah, that's not. No, I didn't say it was going to be different here to the other stats that it has. I said it's going to be higher than Nidorino's.
Ah, yes. Well, yes, we should keep an eye out for that.
I also like that it has the rivalry ability, and I would like it if Nidorino had that too, because I think that could read as a reference to the rivalry between the trainers who didn't want their Nidorans to fall in love. I think that's quite cute.
Yeah.
And them having a like equivalent Pokemon makes that quite a cute one. But yes, carry on talking about stats.
So highest stat is HP. Its second highest stat is defense, which I'm surprised at given what it's been saying to us about, you know, barbs and all that kind of stuff. And it's in the NFE tier, which stands for not fully evolved. So it's still.
I was a little voice in my head went, not fucking ever. Like no one uses this Pokemon.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna do with this line, you're not gonna stick this in over a Nidoqueen, are you? But
no.
It says here, does it have a write up? Have they given it a write up? Well, that is very telling. I feel like this is the first one where they've. There we go. Strategies, no move sets available. So that gives you an idea of how overlooked this. That's the first one we've come across for that, I think, if I'm right. No move sets available. So we were correct in saying that we think that this is going to be.
Watch them have a full fucking write up for Nidorino and me get mad like I did last time. Because you know last time. Everyone who wasn't here last time just has to go and watch the last episode. I won't tell you.
Right, well, should we go on into the break?
Yeah, let's do a break.
As has been referenced in the chat by Bobby and Johnny, my camera has froze. So tell you what, I'm gonna nip to the loo, and then I'm gonna try and fix that. So bear with me. Are you all right to hold the fort?
Yeah, I guess.
So, like I'm mansplaining.
Fuck off then. So if anyone wasn't here when I was talking earlier, we have some Blizzard comedy coming up that you should all go and see. Oh, bye, Katie. I'll miss you. Bye, Katie. Everyone say goodbye to Katie. We'll miss her. So we've got some Blizzard comedy coming up. On Sunday, 4th of February, we have Laura Monmouth and Ian Lane doing a full an hour each and then an hour together. So a total of 3 shows for the price that you choose yourself of 1. Then we've got our regular show of Blizzard on Monday, 12th of February with Anna Thomas headlining. And she's great and we all love her, and you should go and watch that. And if you want to go watch that, I'm not joking, like go and book your tickets soon. Because we have like 11 tickets left and I've done basically no promo for it because I've been busy with other shit. And we always get a mad rush right before the show happens, and usually we get a lot more people than we currently have seats left. Then yeah, Bobby, you are correct. You have an online show to prep for. And if anyone would like to watch that, we'll be streaming it to the Blizzard Comedy Twitch channel. Sorry. Okay, so it's 30 minutes each. Thanks, Johnny. Love you. For Broadcast Avalanche on Monday, 29th of January. So that is next Monday. And if you want to watch that, there's a link to where you can find details about it in the chat now. What I've been doing is I've got a gig with my band on February 10th. And you can book tickets to see us at Maryland Metal Festival at this link. And if you're not in London and can't make it, you can listen to the first single we have out already. And you can pre-save the second single now, but it's coming out on Wednesday. And I'm just going to put that whole link tree where you can do that in there. And yeah, that's where you can listen to my songs. Thank you, Bobby. I'm glad you're going to listen to my songs. I say my songs. Becky writes them. I just show up and play guitar. A lot of people have said about these so far, like, oh, it's not the kind of music I'd expect you to put out. And I'm like, yeah, that's because I didn't write it. I just kind of do as I'm told. And that's fine because it's fun. And I like being in a band with my friends. But yeah, like, if you know me and the kind of music I'm into, like, that has absolutely no bearing on how this music has ended up. So don't go into it expecting too much of my personality to shine through. This is very much Becky's baby, but she has cool ideas. So, Tom, are you back? Are you good? Do I need to keep talking? Do I have anything? I don't have anything else to talk about.
No, I think I have. Luckily managed to be competent.
Oh, I can see you moving. Yeah.
Yes, at a time.
In that case, do you want to plug some shit while I make a quick cup of tea?
Yes. So, like I say, I've had a dropout on the next Comedy Lab. So there is 1 space left for this weekend's Comedy Lab. For if people who are watching this channel want to do it, get in touch. What else have I got that's worth? I got my Leicester Comedy Festival coming up, which I think is on the 10th and 11th, which is on at let me get the details up. So this is the Ha Ha Horror Show, which is my award-nominated cult comedy show, which is a horror comedy mashup, and I'm just going to put the details in the chat. So it's on the 9th of February at 6:15, and on the 10th of February at 3:15. And it's at the K-Hall upstairs, which is with Last Stage Comedy, which is £5 full price or £3 concession. And it will be the last time that I will be doing the show until probably May time. And then we're in discussions about doing like another Halloween tour, which should be quite cool. So that's like the next one that we've got coming up, and we've got the Brighton Comedy Festival. Also in talks about putting together a cabaret show, which should be quite cool. And obviously I'm going to be getting in touch with all the cool people who do who I'm mates with, who put together cool things, to be doing stuff on that. And that's going to be very kind of LGBT and gothic inspired. But again, that's early days. But that's going to be coming on up. What else have I got that's worth shouting about? I'm booked in to do a festival in July. Do you know what? It's difficult because I've had so many things coming up with Comedy Lab that it's almost taken away from the in-person shows that I've been doing, which is I don't know if anyone else finds that, where it's like it's hard to find that kind of balance of the stuff that you're doing that's really creative, along with the stuff that that kind of pays the bills. I suppose that's the eternal struggle of the working class artist. But yes, if you know anyone who would like to come to the Leicester Comedy Festival, please do send them my way, because like I say, it is the second to last time that we're going to be showing it up until probably about October. I think so we were just saying that just whilst you were gone, I don't know how much of it you heard, Kirsty, about how...
Yeah, I was only there.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I should have known that.
My house is not big.
I've been round your flat. I should have...
yeah.
Like, I know exactly where your kettle is in relation to the computer.
You've slept on that sofa right there.
I have. It was... if you remember when I slept on it, and I was so exhausted. I kind of subconsciously created a pillow fort, and then you
amazing.
And then you woke me up, and were like, "Don't you have a place to be in?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What is this fortress of solitude I've created?"
Oh, that was like during the day when we were sitting hanging out, and then I had that really boring meeting, and you were like, "I know we don't nap during the day, but your meeting was so boring, I had to sleep."
Yeah. I find it really difficult to nap, just because.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad my boring ass meeting got you to sleep.
Oh, you know what? You should sell that. You should sell that as like a Patreon thing of stick this on in the background, and you'll be able to drift off to the sounds of. So the next lot of quarterly reports.
People talking about fucking software.
Yeah.
Blogging software. Anyway, have you done your plugs?
Yes, I have.
Have you done your piss?
Yes, I have.
Have you got a refreshment?
Do you know what? I didn't drink anything in the last one. Do you know what? Right, I've genuinely I've bought a load of water bottles, because I've been like, okay, I'm gonna
drink more
water, and I've not drunk a single one of them. But this 24 case of Sprite is down to the last two.
Okay, that's not healthy, but okay.
Yeah.
Have some water after this, please.
I mean, this is basically water, isn't it?
It is not basically water.
See-through.
That does not mean anything. Anyway,
Right.
shall we do the Nidorino episode?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Right.
Okay.
So, Tom, what are your memories, highlights, spicy hot takes, irrational rage about horns about Nidorino?
Right. So I feel like I can speak about this one a little bit more because, as I mentioned when we were showing off the pictures before, that it's in the kind of opening opening animation, and the thing that sticks out to me about Nidorino that I really appreciated as a kid was that they recreate that animation in the TV series.
It's the beginning of the show as well, isn't it? It's Ash watching the same battle take place on TV,
Yeah,
and then his mum coming in and saying, like, go to bed.
yeah,
You've got to get up early tomorrow.
yeah.
I like that. However, it does raise some questions. Who is entering? Who is entering a battling competition with a Pokemon that isn't fully evolved? I feel like you're opening yourself up to um uh judgment there, or to weaknesses, because if it was like this Pokemon is uh this tournament is for Pokemon that aren't fully evolved, it's for middle evolutions only. How good is your middle evolution?
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense, but it's fighting a Gengar, which is a fully evolved Pokemon.
Yeah,
So why would you choose to pit? Johnny has made a good point, couldn't find a Moonstone, but then surely you would just take a Pokemon you have fully evolved and enter that into the competition.
yeah,
And your Nidorino can be a cheerleader. I feel like that was a poor judgment on the part of whoever put that Pokemon um in that tournament. And I'm kind of in two minds about like what it was about Gengar and Nidorino that became those flagship Pokemon. Gengar I can totally see
mm-hmm.
because Gengar is still very much to this day one of the flagship Pokemon. Like Ash has a Gengar in the newest season
Yeah,
and it is very cool and powerful. Um, Gengar has been popular in every single generation. I'm pretty sure it's one that's appeared in most, if not all, of the
yeah,
generations. Um, Nidorino has not.
yeah,
Nidorino, I don't like. I can see why they'd be like, yeah, what's the first Pokemon you're going to see? Gengar, wicked, dope. What's the second Pokemon you're going to see? Nidorino? Why? I don't know.
yeah,
Because I know it's not like as forgettable as um Nidorina.
mm-hmm.
It's because of this appearance.
Yeah,
But why was it chosen for this appearance?
yeah,
And now I'm wondering, like, was this what Nidoking was supposed to look like originally? And then they were like, no, we can't make a middle evolution out of it, so that's going to be the middle, and we're going to put Nidoking on his hind legs, like, because that could be it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
they could have animated either the show or the game beginning. I agree, it is a satisfying shape, but it's a very forgettable Pokemon.
yeah. Well,
I feel like if it was like that cool to put in the beginning, they could have been like, well, this is one of the flagship Pokemon. Why don't we go out of our way to do a bit more with it? And they
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. Well,
And I think like the closest is that obviously we see when we battled Giovanni, which we discussed briefly last week. But again, as we discussed last week, I think Giovanni's um Nidoking and Nidoqueen are more memorable than the Nidorino he has midway through the game.
yeah. But yeah, I think that you hit upon a point there. So it would not surprise me if Nidorino was originally meant to be the end stage evolution, or it was originally meant to be a 2-stage, or maybe Nidorina and Nidorino were meant to be 2-stage originally, and then they added this on for a third for both of them. But I suspect that that animation must have come in earlier than when
Yeah,
they created the type-ins, because we know that the type-ins come in quite late in development. Um,
yeah,
and the reason why we know this is because so people have since pointed out in subsequent years that it's using the horn attack against Gengar, which I suspect that if they came up with that animation pre introducing the ghost type, after introducing the ghost
yeah,
type, they would have likely had it doing a different move against Gengar.
yeah. They would have had it doing like a poison sting or something because yeah, a horn attack being a um uh normal type move would have had no effect on a Gengar. So like the announcer would have been like, "Oh, Nidorino's got a cool horn attack." They'd be like, "What the fuck is this Nidorino doing?"
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. It's an odd choice, and the reason why as well is because if they were like, oh, we really like the kind of shape and stuff like that, like what was being mentioned in the chat, that it's odd that they wouldn't pick Rhyhorn or Rhydon, which so Rhydon's the first
Yeah,
Pokemon that got
y-
created. So it is odd again that they wouldn't pick that one if they wanted like a
yeah,
rhino
and
shaped Pokemon.
yeah, and I feel like Rhyhorn and Nidorino are very similar shaped Pokemon.
Mm,
They are like, and I get that like in we're going back to what we were saying about the patterns being very similar on like Nidorino, like Bulbasaur line, some other Pokemon have a similar like patches to just break up the monotony of being one block color. And I feel like that is down to kind of the animation available to them, the designs for the sprites that were available to them, things like that. And I feel like this is another thing because like the bird Pokemon are all pretty much shaped the same. Like there's not much you can do with a very pixelated small amount of space. And I feel like when it comes down to it, um, it you can kind of see how they've gone like, right, what can we do with this shape? It can go in these directions and then gone in both. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I feel like Nidorino and Rhyhorn are some of those.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you've also got to bear in mind as well that so it would have been designed for the original Game Boy at that point rather than the Game Boy
Yeah.
Color. So I can understand why Gengar got picked, because it's just this all black sprite that it didn't require very much definition. Um, but again, why they would pick Nidorino, given that they could not apply the color palette at that point, is just an odd choice. But
Hmm.
as a further point, that I thought that them including that animation in the TV series was a really nice bridging moment
Yeah.
to connect
Yeah.
both. Especially as well, because if you're into the TV series, from if you play the games first, um, um, like any time that you power on the system, you're going to see that animation. So to see that in the very first episode, like really early on, if is that like the opening of the animation?
Yeah, no, that is like it's you have like the theme tune
Mm,
and then that's it. That's the first thing that you see.
mm,
Like you see that battle and like then you see like Ash kind of like lip syncing along with it, I guess.
yeah,
Playing at being a Pokemon master and his mom goes, get to bed.
yeah.
Um
And I imagine it's really easy for like most kids to watch that and then go, oh, they're watching the same thing that I've watched, and then like imprint a little bit of yourself on Ash Ketchum at
yeah,
that point. So
yeah,
real,
definitely.
so clever that they did that. So clever.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, so that's the thing. Like that's the main thing that I think of when I think of Nidorino. That animation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is the main thing that Nidorino is known for. I feel like apart from that, uh it kind of just fades into obscurity with Nidorina. I think if it wasn't for that um bit of animation, there would be no like not much else to remember it by. It'd just be doing all the same things Nidorina's doing.
Yeah, totally. Like,
Like it's in that one episode. Although Whitney doesn't have one, although I believe Ash does fight one at some point in the Indigo League, but I don't remember the trainer. I think it's just like a background side battle. It's not anything particularly momentous.
yeah,
Uh, so again, they're around, but they don't have any like major plot points. They're not the big movers and shakers in any of the more memorable stories.
yeah. Like, there's probably a reason why. So we know that Gary Oak has got a Nidoking, and we
Mm-hmm.
know that Giovanni's also got a Nidoking.
Yeah.
And there's probably a reason why we don't spend any time with Giovanni's Nidorino,
Ye-
or Gary Oak's Nidorino.
Yeah, they're the awkward teenage version in the middle. Like they're not the fun one. No, Bobby Giovanni is the leader of Team Rocket. He's a mob boss. He's not a Pokemon.
Yeah,
He's a guy.
he could be considered like the main antagonist of the whole series.
Um, and yeah, no, think I think Nidoking is a more imposing Pokemon to see.
Mm.
And if you want to see a trainer such as Gary or Giovanni as a threat, I think using their awkward teenage stage is not going to do that for you in quite the same way. Like, do you see Gary using a Wartortle ever? I don't think so, but you see him using a Blastoise.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
No one's scared of those
Um,
furry ears.
um, yeah,
But
yeah.
to answer the question in the chat, Italy is not a Pokemon.
But I guess that means Italy canonically exists and is also the birthplace of the mafia in the Pokemon world. If Giovanni is there,
Yeah.
um, they haven't done a region based on Italy yet, have they?
No.
They've done a bunch of Japanese regions, obviously.
Yeah.
Kanto and Johto are both Japanese.
Yeah.
Um,
Um.
we've done England, Spain, um, France, New York.
Yeah. I want to say Hoenn is also an area of Japan.
Yeah, I think the first few. What's Sinnoh? Is Sinnoh Japan as well?
I think Sinnoh is Japan.
So I think the first four generations are, I guess, Asia at least,
Yeah.
if not just Japan. And then the subsequent rest are US and Europe.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm fairly certain if I'm right, Sinnoh is the big island at the bottom of Japan.
Okay, that makes sense.
Um.
Um,
Uh,
yeah.
and
Okay.
if I'm right as well, I want to say Kanto and Johto are actual named
Yeah,
places in
I
Japan.
know Kanto definitely is. There is a region of Japan that is just called the Kanto region
Yeah.
already. But yeah. Anyway, Nidorino.
Yeah.
Have we got any other spicy hot takes?
Again, I feel like I've had one, but probably evolved it and got rid of it quite quickly. But I can't remember having one on my team.
Yeah. I think I started and don't think I got very far through a run of Let's Go Eevee where I think I wanted to have either a Nidoking or a Nidoqueen on my team. Just to see what it was like because I haven't done it. And I think originally I wanted uh a Nidoqueen, but I did find that my Nidoran male had a better move pool early on. So I ended up using that one more, which I didn't love. But ended up using, got as far as a Nidorinino, but don't think I evolved it before I kind of stopped playing that run because I'd forgot that the novelty of the Let's Go games is that you don't fight the Pokemon ever, you just catch them all the time. And that got a little bit tiring. Like the first time playing it through, it was great fun, but yeah, the second time playing it through, I like like just feeding your Pokemon like candies rather than actually like training them up at all. Just felt kind of shit. I didn't really enjoy it. Like I get why it works on Pokemon Go because it's a mobile game. Like you don't invest the same kind of time as you do into a like console game
Mm.
as you do a mobile game. At least I certainly don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to have to like grind my Pokemon the way I do in console games on Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I get that they were trying to bridge it, but I think it made Let's Go a little bit dry to replay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm glad I did it once, but I don't think I'm going to do it all the way through again. Like I might start it again a few times and be like, yeah, catching Pokemon, but then like I'll be like, oh, there's no like battling or training or anything like that. It's kind of there's only battling other trainers, and even then they only fight you once. So
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of my main issues that I had with Let's Go Pikachu. And like to the point where I got told, so it's quite common knowledge that Eevee is the better of the two to have, and but it's like I found it so kind of clinical that I never bothered to start again because I was like, why would I go through that again?
I mean, I think if you bought Let's Go Pikachu, you get Pikachu every time.
Yes, that is
It's
true.
yeah, it's not like in the other games where you choose your starter. It's like you chose your starter when you bought the game.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
I'm also assuming that you can't evolve your Eevee.
no, you can teach your Eevee special moves that are like fire, grass, water, electric, dark type that only this Eevee can learn. I think some later starters can also learn them according to their own type, but like it's this special move that people will teach your Eevee, and they have the ugliest move names I have ever heard. Like I think the dark type one is called Baddie Bad, and like it's kind of cringe. Um, but they are some of the most powerful moves in the game, and your Eevee has like just absolutely hench stats compared to the other Pokemon you're going to get. Like you couldn't catch an Eevee in the wild that had these kind of boosted stats.
Yeah.
And it means like in order to feel like you're actually achieving anything, you have to not use your Eevee.
Mm.
Like I think if they actually made you use an unevolved Pokemon with normal stats through the game, that would be a much more interesting game than what they've done.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've kind of struck the I know they are trying to balance it between appealing to old fans by doing a remake and making it accessible to children by making it really piss easy. But I feel like they've kind of missed the mark on both of those things by making it like way too easy and like not quite getting the vibe right
Mm.
with the nostalgia element of it,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I feel like I gave that game a much better review when it was new.
Well, hindsight is 2020, mate. Absolutely, is
Watch
2020.
watch my I gave Diamond and Pearl, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, like a really low score. Like watch it get lower as the years go by. Watch me learn to loathe that game. Anyway, Nidorinino. Do we have any more thoughts about Nidorinino?
No, like I say, I feel like I've had one, but never really remember that I had one.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I mentioned it on one of the previous episodes that, and as I think it was Johnny said in the chat that so I'm a Bulbasaur picker, so the the Nidoran line has probably got very little for me.
Because you've already got those poison type moves for your Bulbasaur. Yeah, I think if you've picked Charmander or Squirtle, particularly if you've pitched Charmander, you might end up with a Nidorino just because obviously Nidoran Male has that handy double kick for Brock.
Yeah,
But it's not too hard to find better poison types and better ground types. And poison and ground is a fine combination, I guess, for Nidoking and Nidoqueen, but I think the people who choose them, the Garys and the Giovannis of the world, uh, are choosing them because they look scary rather than because they're particularly strategically useful.
yes. And like I say, my prediction for when we get to Nidoqueen and Nidoking is that Nidoqueen will probably actually be better than Nidoking, but I get the feeling that probably people pick Nidoking because it's like all spiky and stuff.
Because it's all spiky and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
So, should we have a look at the Dex entries?
Let's do that. Let's read the Pokedex entries. Watch me get all fucking mad about how they're all like, oh, Nidorino's all aggressive.
So
compared to its like, nurturing mummy partner.
Yeah, I mean,
Nidorino.
Like, I'm looking there at the official artwork, and it's like, off what we said before, I could genuinely see that being the final stage.
Yeah.
I could see it having...
I feel like that could have been the original design for Nidoking, and they were going to have a more awkward one that was maybe a bit more akin to Nidorino, where it was a bit softer.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, actually, this doesn't... I don't know, maybe it didn't measure up to, like, Gary's Blastoise or Giovanni's Kangaskhan, and they were like, it needs to be scarier to be in the main villains team, so we're going to do a bigger one, and then sort of like switched it up a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, like, it looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool as it is, but yeah, it just looks like they probably went, let's do a third on that one and see how we get on. So here we go. Pokedex entries.
Sorry, I'm just really enjoying Johnny's comment, which I assume is in response to me talking about how they're gonna be all like annoyingly masculine. Nidorino is just better suited to management roles. I don't know what to tell you. Which is chef's kiss. Yeah, right. Let's read some of these. What do they say? Right, red and blue. An aggressive Pokemon that is quick to attack. The horn on its head secretes a powerful venom. What did I say? It's just going to go straight to like, oh, it's aggressive. Like, falling into those gender stereotypical pitfalls. Like, not all men are aggressive. Some of them are little soft boys. Where's my little soft, cuddly Nidorino? Yeah. That would have been a really cute episode, I think, where some kid has a Nidorino and everyone's like, oh, everyone thinks Nidorinos are so aggressive. But then this one is actually, like a shy little baby. Yeah. I think that'd been a cute episode.
Yeah.
And they, the whole gang just like teach Nidorino how to like accept himself for himself because he's got all these good qualities that have nothing to do with being aggressive.
Okay. Hashtag not all Nidorino.
Bobby says, I'm a soft, cuddly, needy Reno. Which I love. Right, what's the next one? Its horns, plural, contain venom. If they are stabbed into an enemy, the impact makes the poison leaks out. I mean, sure, that sounds pretty standard. That sounds like how that would work. Stadium Professor
already I'm annoyed.
I'm
already annoyed.
Dick swinging going around.
Yeah, why is Nidorino getting the dick swinging? Why can't Nidorino have the dick swinging?
Its horn is harder than a diamond. Like,
annoying.
Okay. If it punctures an enemy, it pumps powerful venom into the wound. Like the impact makes the poison leak out sounds like a factual description of how the poison goes from its horn into the thing it's stabbing,
Yeah.
right? That's how poison works. It pumps powerful venom into the wound. Just sounds so aggressive, unnecessarily, in comparison.
Yeah. I also have an imagination of Stadium Professor with an Nidoran and a diamond and just fucking swinging baseball bats, knuckle
Oh, pump
dusters.
your hard diamond horn, Nidorinino. Just Stadium Professor being a fucking deviant again.
Yeah.
Right. Let's leave him behind. Gold says it raises its big ears to check its surroundings. If it senses anything, it attacks it immediately. I feel like that was copied and pasted from a Nidoran entry.
Yeah. All they've done
That's
is added
definitely
big.
You know, what is it? It's just Nidoran but bigger. Okay, done. Silver has quick to anger. It stabs its enemies with its horn to inject a powerful poison when it becomes agitated. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we're getting now it's short-tempered.
Yeah.
Another toxic stereotype of masculinity we're seeing here.
Yeah.
Compared to like Nidorino being all nurturing. Okay, fine, yeah.
Yeah. It's not even pink. Not even pink anymore.
Can't say I'm terribly surprised by that one.
Nope.
Crystal, it is easily agitated and uses its horn for offense as soon as it notices an attacker. That's basically the same information we got in Silver, but slightly reworded. Stadium 2 has copied Gold's homework because it's learned not to be so fucking weird about the Pokemon's hard horn.
Just before we move on, Crystal has made me think of like if you replace the word horn with comedy, you could that could describe any fragile open mic male comic. It is easily agitated and uses its comedy for offence as soon as it notices an attacker.
If you replace horn with gun, it describes police officers.
Oh, look at that! We got political. I weren't expecting that on the Nidorinino episode.
Okay. Ruby and Sapphire is back to the dick swinging. Nidorino has a horn that is harder than a diamond. If it senses a hostile presence, all the barbs on its back bristle up at once, and it challenges the foe with all its might. Again, how did they know this was consistent to every Nidorino? Were they like continually antagonizing the Nidorino? And we're just like, no, they're definitely every single one giving it their all. Like none of them are phoning it in when we piss them off.
Yeah,
like,
and it almost feels like they could not decide whether or not they wanted Nidorino to be rhino-like, to be rabbit-like, or to be hedgehog-like. And it's like just pick a lane, pick one. Yeah. I'll be done with it.
Emerald is basically the same. Fire red. I'm tickled by the word choice, I will give you that. It is easily angered. By swinging its well-developed horn wildly, it can even punch through diamond. So it's not that its horn is hard as a diamond or harder than a diamond, but it can actively destroy diamonds. Leaf Green has an aggressive Pokemon that is quick to attack. The horn on its head secretes a powerful venom.
I feel like we've heard diamond a lot. I feel like we've heard diamond on this one more than we've heard it on any of the other ones. Like the other ones, like concrete, steel. I feel like the professor must have had a partner that was like, "When are you going to propose to me?" And they were like, "You know what? That Nidorino fucked the ring up. So sorry, can't get engaged. Don't blame me. Blame the Nidorinino."
Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum has a violent disposition and stabs foes with its horn, which oozes poison upon impact. Again, I mean that's just what we've heard before, but like I don't think anything's building on anything. I'm really hoping Sword and Shield are going to turn this around for me. Heart Gold has the same as Gold. Soul Silver has the same as Silver. Black, White, and Black 2 and White 2 have the same as Diamond and Pearl. X has the same as Gold. And Y has basically the same as Silver. No, wait. not silver. It's got the same as something as leaf green. Um, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire have the same as Ruby and Sapphire. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee has its horn contains venom. If it stabs an enemy with the horn, the impact makes the poison leak out. I think that's the same. Yeah, that's the same as yellow.
Yeah.
All right. I'm really hoping that Sword and Shield are going to turn this one around for me.
I think it will.
Sword has with a horn that's harder than a diamond. This Pokemon goes around shattering boulders as it searches for a moonstone. Actually do like that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
When I saw harder than diamond, I was like, oh, not more of this. But actually, the fact that it contextualizes it.
Yeah.
And also, like, I like the idea of, like, them observing the Nidorino in the wild, like, actively, when they're ready to evolve, going and looking for a moonstone to do so. I think that's really quite cute.
Yeah.
I like the context this has. Shield says it's nervous and quick to act aggressively. The potency of its poison increases along with the level of adrenaline present in its body. I think I also like this because everything else says it's a quick-tempered, aggressive Pokemon, but Shield is the first one to tie that to nervousness. And I think it did this with Nidoran Male as well, if I remember rightly from last week. It isn't just saying, oh, it's just angry for no reason. It's angry because it's nervous. And I think that also like touches into why a lot of very aggressive people are aggressive like naturally rather than like when something puts their back up, like when something has triggered it. It's like if you are just always aggressive, probably because you're like insecure about something.
Yeah.
And I do quite like that it is drawing that very direct parallel and it's not saying like it's good to have this Pokemon on your team because of its aggression. It's being like this Pokemon is aggressive because it is nervous. And I liked that. That's again, it's done that thing where it doesn't dispute what we know already, but it gives it a new angle that I think is better than the information we've been given so far.
Yeah.
Right. And then Brilliant, Diamond, and Pearl has the same as Black, White, and Diamond and Pearl. Okay.
Right.
So I feel like it followed the same pattern as Nidorina in the sense that a lot of it up to Generation 9 sort of fell into some pitfalls of, oh, we've gendered these things, not subverted gender stereotypes very well, and but yeah, Sword and Shield turned it around. This is like the first thing that's made me proud to be British in a long time, that like the Pokemon games inspired by England have the best Pokedex entries. I realize that's a low bar, but also this country hasn't achieved a lot recently, so please let me have this.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you this: if this general election does not go the way I want it to, I feel like that will be the only thing I cling on to for quite some time.
Sword and Shield is good. Like our country is a piece of shit, but Sword and Shield is pretty good.
Yeah, we
inspire better things.
We got a cup of tea Pokemon.
Good cup of tea Pokemon. I feel like, tell you what, we will get to this a million episodes from now, but like Copperaja, the elephant Pokemon made of copper, that is obviously inspired by our colonization of India, is like way too cute a Pokemon for like what it's commenting on. You know what I mean?
I can't believe that you're giving spoilers for a podcast episode that we're going to do in like 7 years' time.
7 years' time. Yeah, I've said this before. I'll say it again on the Copperaja episode.
Well,
anyway.
Well, people are gonna tune into that episode and know exactly what it is that you're gonna say. So you know, when we've got people in the chat being like, we already heard this when you mentioned it in the Nidorinino episode. Don't be surprised. Right, shall we have a look on the Smogon entries?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okie doke. So we have got Nidorinino. That's their animation. They look alright.
Hmm.
They've got rivalry as well.
Yeah. Oh, so it does marry up quite cutely.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
HP, its highest is its attack. It's got the same special attack and special defense as Nidorino, so
yeah.
they're not playing favourites there. But let's have a very quick look at the stats compared to each other. So we've got HP 70. Right. So Nidorino's actually got higher HP than
Okay.
Nidorino. Uh, Nidorino has got a higher attack, which would make sense given the law.
Hmm.
Uh,
Then Nidorino should have higher special attack given the law. I don't know why they've put like 5 seconds of effort into one and not the other.
well, Nidorino has
Or maybe I do.
got higher defense. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
um, but it's 72 attack versus 67 defense, so they're still,
Yeah.
playing favourites there.
Oh, great.
Now. And what are they doing on speed? And that's annoying. Nidorino has got higher speed, so it looks like Nidorino has overall the better stats across the two. But they are both in the not fully evolved category.
Yeah, that makes sense because neither of them are fully evolved. Does Nidorino have a write up or did they just blank Nidorino?
Uh, let's have a look. No movesets available. So they've blanked them both.
Okay, that's okay. As long as they've blanked them both.
Yeah.
I don't want them showing blatant favoritisms.
Yes, I agree. We did the same thing that we did the last time. We've not given our Trubbish rating for Nidorino. So should we do Nidorino and we'll do Nidorino in that order?
Yep.
Right. So right, Nidorino. I feel like it's so unmemorable. Like in terms of like the amount of like iconic moments that it's got. I did like some of the lore, and I like the fact that both of them have got rivalry, but I'm gonna struggle to give this more than a 3.
Yeah, I think it's the same. Like, I think maybe I'd even go as low as a 2 because, like, I feel like it's so underdeveloped as a character. Like you don't get much of Nidorina's personality, and I feel like all of the information that you get about it, from like the Pokedex entries and stuff, is just like this is a stereotypical girl Pokemon, and girls like babies, and I'm like, it makes it really underwhelming for me. It's not what I'd like for Nidorino. I feel like it's been done really dirty.
Yeah.
And while last week that made me want to give the female Nidoran like an extra pity point, I feel like Nidorina's been so let down and it's become so washed away into the background that like I feel like the pity point is just patronizing and I don't want to. It's been patronized enough,
Yeah. Like
unfortunately.
I'm looking at Nidorina and I'm feeling like, okay, so with Nidorino, you went, okay, we're going from rabbit into like a rhino, and it's like that's fine. I do not mind that. Pretty cool, but it's like if you're gonna change it up that much, it's like, and this is your first female, like specific Pokemon. Like, why couldn't you have gone down like the Black Widow? Okay,
Yeah, there are so many more things I could have done with it.
yeah, like I do not
And I
mind.
think,
I do not mind it being protective and stuff like that, but it could be like,
yeah,
okay, it's like it's protective because this is like the alien queen from Alien, like
yeah. And I do feel like further down the line, Pokemon did get better at choosing why it gendered Pokemon. Like Vespiquen
yeah,
being only the female ones evolved because that matches up with the the way bees only have a queen in the real world. So Vespiquen, the queen bee Pokemon, can only be female.
Yeah.
I think that's quite cool. And tell you what, the amount of annoying assholes on the internet who are like, well, why doesn't Combi have a really tough, like, male worker bee evolution as well? And it's like, I don't give a fuck, man. Like, you've already got all the privilege in the world. Can we not have one fucking Pokemon?
Uh,
Um, so there's that.
yeah.
But like, yeah, I feel like at this point they wanted to do something and they didn't think it through enough.
Yeah. And in future, now we've done this podcast, whenever either of us see anything like that, it's like, why can't Come be really badass? We need to send them Nidorina and be like, look, is it not more than even? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should we head on over to Nidorino?
Nidorino, I think I'd still only give it a 3 because I feel like its appearance at the very beginning of the game gives it a bit more recognizability, but it still doesn't have a personality. It is still just like too stereotyped to be interesting, and despite its better stats, I still don't like it enough to fight with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel
Like if I was first introduced to it in Sword and Shield, I might have a better idea of it.
Yeah.
Like I might like it a bit more. And then but then going back and seeing its history, I'm just like, oh, okay.
I feel like if this had been the original Nidoking, I'd have probably given it a higher mark. But I agree, it's difficult to give it more than a 3. Like I'd be tempted to give it a 4, but I feel like you make a very good argument for it being a 3. So I'm gonna stick with a 3 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
3 it is.
Right, there we go. Look at that. We managed to do a whole episode that wasn't 100 hours.
I am surprised it was still nearly 2 hours.
I know!
But it is technically less than 2 hours. Well done us.
Yeah.
Being concise-ish for the first time ever.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see. Like, we spoke for 2 hours just about Raichu. And we've done 2 episodes and a break in our plugs.
Yeah. I mean, when I come to putting these all together and do them as like the full streams, it's still going to be like about 6 hours across them all. But
yeah.
But like I have to do my I have to like, what's the word? You know, when you like create the file, I normally have to do that at like as I'm asleep, and I'm fully expecting that when I stick all of these 6 together, that there's a good chance that it will still not be done by the morning.
Okay, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I say, we are under 2 hours. We are getting concise. This is why Nintendo should hire us.
God, I don't know how they managed to fit anything into those fucking 10-minute episodes they're trying to do.
Cause they're not as good as us.
No, they are not.
No. Right. Do you have anything else to plug?
No, I've plugged everything. I feel like the links are still up there. Everyone knows where they are. Thank you, everyone who has joined us this evening. It has been lovely having such a vibrant chat today.
Yeah, I've loved it.
And join us next week, same time, same place, where we'll be talking about Nidoking and Nidoqueen. I've put the details in the chat where you can RSVP on our Facebook page. Tell all your friends to come watch and talk shit about Pokemon with us.
Yeah. Catch you in a bit.